Jungkook came near you and gave you a cup of warm tea that he just made for you. Drink this and relax, okay? Stop thinking about everything else. Thank you. You said in a low voice before taking the cup from his hand, and Jungkook noticed that your hands were still trembling. He sat on the table in front of you. Ryan, everything is over. Now you have to focus on yourself and this child. You looked at him for some time. I don't think I would ever be able to thank you enough. I wouldn't have done it alone. Jungkook held your hand in his. Don't make me feel like an outsider by thanking me. I would have gone to any extent to get you out of that nightmare, and now you are safe. You nodded, but then you pulled back your hand when your eyes fell on his daughter who was looking at you. Jungkook followed your eyes and saw his daughter standing at a distance. Jia, you came back home? Come in. See who is here. She came there, but she wasn't looking happy. Jungkook smiled and sat on her level. What is she doing here? Why do I always see you with her? Jungkook's smile faded and you also looked confused. Jia, you shouldn't talk like this in front of elders. She looked at her father. Why not? You're so busy with her that you don't remember it was my parents-teacher meeting today. Jungkook's face fell as he realized. I'm sorry, Jia. I was in court and I informed your teacher I'll go tomorrow. You have been doing this job for years, but I've never seen you giving that much importance to anyone that you are giving her. What is she to you? She's playing a victim card to trap you. Jia, what nonsense are you talking? He raised his voice. Jungkook, no please. She looked at him angrily. You forgot my mom. I love this woman. I hate you. She ran outside from there. Jungkook looked at you while you also tried to process what she just said. I'm sorry, Ryan. It's okay, she's a child. You should go and see her. He nodded. I'll come in a minute. Please still sit here. And please don't take her words seriously. She is mad because I didn't go to her school. You nodded. Don't worry. With a very heavy heart, Jungkook walked towards his daughter's room while you sat on the couch carefully. You didn't know why she said those words, but after all, she's a child. At this moment, you were not in a state to think about anything else but what just happened with you. Today, you and your ex-husband finally got divorced. Everything feels surreal, like you're living in someone else's nightmare. Just days ago, you were still married, still hoping that maybe somehow things would get better, but then the truth hit you like a freight train. He was cheating, had been for God knows how long, and now he was expecting a child with another woman. You glanced down at your swollen belly. Your hand trembled as it rested against the life growing inside you. The baby is his, the man who betrayed you so deeply. It feels like a cruel joke. How could he do this to you? How could he lie, cheat, and then refuse to let you go when you begged for your freedom? Tears well up in your eyes, but you blinked them back. You are in Jungkook's house now, far from the place where you had been trapped in that toxic marriage. Jungkook, who had come back into your life like a lifeline when you needed it most. He was the one who helped you fight for the divorce, using every bit of his legal expertise to make sure you could finally break free, and now here you are in his home because he was too worried to let you be alone in your condition. Jungkook's daughter doesn't understand. She's just a little girl who lost her mother and now fears losing her father to someone else. You can't blame her, but it hurts. You're not here to take her father away. You are just lost. The tears finally break free, sliding down your cheeks as the reality of everything crashed over you. You sob quietly, trying not to make too much noise, but it's no use. The pain was too deep, the betrayal too raw. You don't even hear Jungkook enter the room. When he saw you, his heart clenched. He's always been able to read you, even when you were teenagers, and now the sight of you like this tears at him. He knelt down in front of you. Why, these tears are so precious to waste on someone like him. Please don't cry. You are free now. You are safe. But it was hard to forget whatever you have been through. I loved him with everything that I had. He broke me completely. How can he do that to me? How can he be so heartless? Why didn't he tell me everything honestly? He pulled you into a hug, didn't able to see you in that state. He will suffer what he did. Please forget him and start your life again. He held you close as you cried into his chest. He knew that words won't help right now, that you just need to let it out. And so he stayed there with you, offering the only thing he can, his silent support. Jungkook watched you cry and it broke his heart. You had been his first love back in school, but you never knew because you liked someone else. When you married that guy, Jungkook was devastated and he kept his feelings to himself. He even went through with an arranged marriage because his parents insisted. He thought this marriage could be the way to forget you, but you stayed in his heart all that time. Now seeing you hurt like this, his old feelings came rushing back, but he stayed quiet, knowing you had already been through so much. You pulled back from Jungkook's embrace, wiping your eyes. The reality of your situation began to settle in, and you know you can't stay here. You took a deep breath and looked at him. I think I should go back home now. Jungkook's brows furrowed in concern. It's not the right time for you to be alone. He insisted. Please, just stay here tonight. I'm worried about you. You shook your head, trying to smile through the pain. I'll be fine, Jungkook. You need to be with your daughter right now. She needs to know she's important to you, and I don't want her to feel like I'm taking you away from her. But you shouldn't be alone in your condition. It doesn't feel right to let you leave like this. You stood up, grabbing your purse, and looked at him. I'll be okay, really. She's your daughter and she needs you more than I do right now. Jungkook sighed, still not fully convinced, but he nodded. If you're sure, I'll drop you off, at least. You looked at him and smiled. It was a weak smile but full of gratitude. I'll go by myself, and thank you for everything you have done for me. I don't even think I will ever be able to return the favor you have done to me, but I'll try my best. Now you are free from your duty towards me, Mr. Advocate. Jungkook's heart dropped. He realized that you were seeing him as your advocate, a lawyer and a friend. You're still unaware of his feelings, but we're still be friends, right? You nodded. He swallowed. Promise me you'll call if anything happens. I don't care what time it is. Just call me. You gave him a reassuring nod. I will. Good night, Jungkook. He walked you to the door and stayed there until you disappeared from his side. He stayed there for some time, leaning against the door. It's been more than 2 months since he's been with you, and that love he once felt for you, it came back. But he was not sure if it's right or not. He locked the door and walked towards his daughter's room. Jungkook quietly opened the door of his daughter's room. He came to check whether she is sleeping or not, but his heart clenched seeing the sight in front of him. His daughter was crying, clutching her mother's photo close to her chest. The sight nearly broke him. He walked over, kneeling beside her, and gently pulled her into his arms. Hey, sweetheart, what's wrong? Why are you crying? He asked concerningly. She buried her face in his chest. Her tiny hands clutched his shirt. I miss Mom, she sobbed, and I'm scared. Jungkook's heart ached even more. He held her tightly, trying to soothe her. I know, baby, I miss her too, every day. After a moment, she pulled back slightly, looking up at him with tear-filled eyes. Dad, are you going to forget about Mom because of her? You care so much about her. What if she takes you away from me? Jungkook was taken aback by her words. What? No, that's not true. I'm just helping her because she's going through a really tough time. She's a good person, and she would never try to take me away from you. You are my everything. His daughter hesitated. She spoke after a pause. But Mom was afraid too. She showed me a picture of her from your school album. She said you still liked her, even after you married Mom. She didn't know if you ever really moved on. Jungkook was stunned. He hadn't known that his late wife felt that way. He swallowed hard, trying to find the right words. I didn't know Mom felt like that. I loved her very much, and nothing could ever change that. But I promise you, I will always be here for you. His daughter sniffled, and her grip on him tightened. You won't forget about Mom. Never. Mom will always be a part of us, and so will you. You are the most important person in my life, okay? Nothing will ever change that. His daughter looked at him, searching his face for the truth, and slowly nodded. I don't want to lose you too, Dad. Jungkook pulled her close, his voice thick with emotion. You will never lose me, sweetheart. I promise you that we'll get through this together, just like we always have. The next morning, Jungkook was getting his daughter ready for school, trying to make her feel secure and loved. He was focused on making sure she knows that she was the most important thing in his life. When his phone rang, it was the police station. He looked at his daughter, who was enjoying the pancakes he made for her. "Hey sweetie, finish your breakfast for me, okay? I needed to take this call." She nodded and again focused on eating. He walked to a little distance and answered the call and heard the officer's serious voice. "Mr. John, yesterday something happened that I think you should know about. We got a call from Miss Wyan's house last night. It cut off in the middle, but she sounded really scared. When we got there, she was laying on the floor, hurt. Her husband broke in and attacked her." Jungkook's face went pale with anger. "Where is he now?" he asked while his voice tied with fury. "He's been arrested and is in a cell here." Jungkook didn't wait to hear more. He ended the call while his mind was set on one thing, and that is to make sure that man never had the chance to hurt you again. Jungkook came near his daughter. "Jia, Mark uncle will take you to your school, okay? I've got something important," he said, quickly placing a kiss on her forehead. "But Dad, you said you'll come to my school." Jungkook was so guilty, but he has to handle another matter too. "I will definitely come. Just wait for me, okay? I promise." She nodded. He kissed her once again. "Appa is sorry." "It's okay, Dad. I'll go with Mark uncle." He forced a smile before rushing outside. Jungkook arrived at the police station. His eyes were burning with rage. He stormed into the holding area and saw her ex-husband in the cell. His anger flared and he stepped inside the cell without hesitation, grabbing the man by the collar and slamming him against the wall. He started hitting the ex-husband, each punch fueled by the sight of you injured and terrified. The ex-husband tried to defend himself, but Jungkook's rage was unstoppable. Officers rushed in, pulling him away. "Mr. John, you can't do this here. We understand you're angry, but you need to calm down." Jungkook struggled against their hold, his voice a fair growl. "I don't care. He deserved to suffer for what he has done." The officers managed to separate him from the ex-husband, who was now cowering in the corner. "You can't act like this. We'll handle this legally." Jungkook glared at the ex-husband as his chest heaving with anger. "If you ever come near her again, I'll make sure you regret it for the rest of your life." The officers managed to calm him down. He left the police station still worried and angry. He needed to see you to make sure you were all right. Jungkook arrived at the hospital, his face a mixture of worry and concern. As soon as he walked through the doors, he headed straight for your room. His heart was racing. When he finally saw you lying in the bed, looking pale and tired, he stopped in his tracks, shocked and relieved. "Jungkook?" A whisper left your mouth as your eyes fell on him. "Why didn't you call me?" His voice was filled with concern as he approached your bed. "Why did you hide such a big thing from me, Wyan?" You looked down. "I don't want to bother you for no reason. I was handling it." He saw a bruise at the corner of your lips and a blue mark near your cheekbone. His heart clenched and anger rushed in. "Handling it? You were attacked and you're pregnant. I should have been here. I needed to know you're safe." "Jungkook, you can't." Before you could say, a nurse came there. She's entering her last month of pregnancy. She needs to be taken care of very carefully. Stress isn't good for her or the baby. Jungkook's face darkened with concern, but you knew what would he think. But you never wanted him to do anything for you now. You have had enough favors from him. "I'll take care." Before you could finish, he interfered. Was the plan for her recovery? The nurse looked at Jungkook, seeing the genuine worry in his eyes. She needs a stable, safe environment. It would be best if she had someone to take care of her and help her manage stress. Jungkook nodded, making a decision. Okay, thank you. She'll stay with me. I'll take care of her. He looked at him surprised. Jungkook, I can't impose on you like that. I will take care of myself. He looked at you a little man. I've already seen that. No arguments. You need a safe place to recover and you are coming with me. I won't hear otherwise. But no buts, Jungkook said, getting up while his tone left no room for discussion. This is not up for debate. You're staying with me and that's final. Seeing the determination in his eyes, you knew there was no changing his mind. Hugh sighed, knowing he wasn't going to let up. The nurse smiled at Jungkook's care for you. It's good to see you taking charge. I'll make sure you have all the information you need to take care of her properly. Jungkook came near you. I'm going to make sure you're okay. I promise you nothing is going to happen to you or the baby. You don't understand why he was doing so much for you or the baby. It was more than someone could do in friendship, and you were afraid that what you are thinking would turn out to be true. Chia's face brightened as soon as she saw her father. Jungkook spread his arms when he saw his daughter. She ran to him before jumping into his arms. Appa. Jungkook kissed the top of her head and looked at her. Did you like my surprise? She smiled widely and nodded. I'm so happy. He got up before walking towards his car. Let's have a special dinner tonight, okay? Your favorite? She smiled and sat inside the car, but her smile slowly faded when she saw you sitting inside. How are you, Gia? Although you don't know if your words were right or not, but you just spoke normally. Gia looked at her father. Dad, what is she doing here? Jungkook looked at her calmly as he knew it would be so hard to convince her. Gia, Wine is going to stay with us in our house. Before he finishes, she cut him off. What? Now you are bringing her in our house to live? As if being with her all the time was not enough? Chia, you need to mind your language and first listen to me. Wine needs to be taken care of. She's going to be staying with us until her baby is born. She's had a rough time and we need to help her. Chia's face clouded over with irritation. Why does she have to stay with us? I don't want her here. He looked at Jungkook and he felt so sorry for what Gia said. He tried to stay calm. Gia, Wine is going through a difficult time. It's important for us to be kind and supportive. We are helping her because it's the right thing to do. Gia crossed her arms, her face flushed with frustration. But I don't like her. I don't want her here. Mom used to say people like her was just trouble. Jungkook's expression hardened slightly, but he kept his voice even. That's not true, Gia. Wine is not trouble. She's in need of our help. Your mom and I always taught you to be kind and understanding. It's not fair to judge someone before you really know them. But it's not fair to me. Things are changing and I don't want to share you with her. Jungkook took a deep breath, his voice firm but gentle. I understand that it's hard to have things changed, but family means helping each other, even when it's not easy. I care about you more than anything and I'm asking you to trust me on this. We need to be supportive and kind, just like your mom would want. Mom would never want her to come back in your life and stop calling her family. She's not a family. Jungkook looked at you and he felt so sorry because he knew it must have hurt you. He just doesn't know how to make his daughter understand. The car ride was silent after that. Gia looked out the window, clearly upset when you arrived at Jungkook's house. He helped you inside. He was concerned and apologetic too. Gia went to her room as soon as you came home. Once you were alone, you turned towards Jungkook. Jungkook, maybe it would be better if I didn't stay here. I don't want to cause problems for you and Gia. Fine, I'm sorry for whatever she said. I know it must have hurt you, but everything will be okay, I promise. Jungkook, she's just a child. I don't want her to resent me because I'm here. I can't do this. He held your hands. Wine, let me handle this, please. I'm begging you. I can't leave you alone, especially after what happened yesterday. I will never be able to live a second without thinking what you were doing. Please. There was silence for some time. You knew something is more than what you think it was. Jungkook looked at you with a deeper, more vulnerable expression. Ryan, you don't know how much you mean to me. I need you here. Not just for your sake, but for mine too. Let me take care of you. I can't lose you.